Hello, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful Wednesday here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The weather is just shy of miserable, and we're getting ready for summer where I will be inside most of the time if I can help it because it becomes unlivable. Zach, how are you doing?
Hot. No, actually, it's weirdly cold in this studio/office to me.
Yeah.
So I like it because I can still wear the layers that I prefer wearing.
Yeah, like a lizard.
But then I walk outside and it's
Yeah, and then you got to shed your skin. You guys didn't miss the podcast. That's great, given the title, Fear of Missing Out. FOMO, for those not in the know, means fear of missing out. It's a big topic that swirls around a million different ways in our industry and others, and I think it was just time to crack into it. The titling of the podcast itself is actually playing with this concept of what is psychological manipulation and successful marketing versus a more perverse kind of world where you're manipulating people to feel a certain way that is not healthy or not productive for maybe for human beings at large. And this particularly came to light for me. I think I pushed on this topic a little bit this week to do this week with the Trailblazer campaign, which is doing great on Kickstarter for Earthborn. But that's something we've been heavily involved in. And I started asking questions internally of like, man, what if there had just been some Kickstarter exclusives in that? What if instead of it being like a number of campaigns are like a pre-order under the auspices of being like straightforward, authentic, kind of not trying to be that kind of game? What if instead of doing that, there were some like, hey, you get a deluxe map instead of a normal map, and you can only get it during the Kickstarter. And we've got these exclusive things you can only get during the Kickstarter. And I think when you see a game like Trailblazer compared to a lot of the TCGs that have come down the pipe on Kickstarter, and just the general kind of marketing attitude around what has been a bit of a fever dream since 2020 of like all the crypto stuff, all the last chance stuff, all the sneaker craze, all that, the tulips, that we've been steeped in that world for a very long time. And I think the question of what is marketing, what is ethical, what is just effective, and with social media being such a big part of that you do have to ask those questions now. And are you just losing sales and audience by playing the game poorly? It kind of is like, I was talking to Shannon about this last night, that what if in volleyball, I just basically said, like, I just think it's only fair if I serve underhanded. And so I play volleyball and I only ever serve underhanded, but everybody around me is spiking the ball and serving overhanded. It's like, am I just a bad volleyball player? Do I need to play into the meta game that exists? Or is there some kind of ethical stance, some kind of moral high horse that I can get on that is not only good from a out here perspective, maybe a higher than perspective, but also that it would yield me some amount of marketing results from a different audience by not playing that game, and therefore would justify it.
You know what? I hadn't thought of it in those terms until you just said that, but it actually reminds me of the conversation I was cautiously poking into in our Discord channel about the Oklahoma City Thunder and basketball.
Sports, man. Isn't that something?
Which
people really care about that.
I do want to crack into, but I want to save it for the actual meat of the conversation. So we have a short list of news items this week.
Yeah.
Especially news items that aren't related in some way to this, because there's two things that were going on. One, which you already hinted at, which is Trailblazer. And I had Andrew on the podcast a year or two ago asking about the Hub World campaign and the just total lack of FOMO. Like, it's the most genuine, authentic. It's not a TCG, first of all, and then there was just, it's so locked in to just being such an honest campaign.
See, and it's interesting we use those words when we even talk about this.
Yeah.
That to not do that is dishonest is kind of an interesting thing that many of us feel, but it's hard to justify.
That's the topic, really.
Yeah.
But the second thing that happened, which I'll use this to segue into the news really quickly, is with Sorcery. They had their tickets go on sale for the Avatar of the Realm event.
Oh, that's right. That's another thing that happened.
Sold out in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of people, understandably disappointed and frustrated, But then there was a lot of conversation going on online about that. And that,
oh my gosh, this game is so successful, or there's so many people that want to be there. That's wild.
Or how incompetent is this company?
Yeah.
They should have booked a way bigger venue, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So Sorcery, Avatar of the Realm, take us one on sale, sold out. And one of the questions I asked you at some point was like, genuinely, is this massive success or massive failure? And I think depending on who you're talking to, yes.
It's both.
And so that's a part of the eventual FOMO topic for me. But that's the biggest thing going on with Sorcery. Avatar event sold out like crazy.
Well, and this is such a great tie into this, because it comes back to intention, because if they knew that there were 6,000 players that wanted to go, but they only opened up 250 or however many slots that they had at the hotel, then there's something about that feels like, but only if they got increased pricing because of that. If they're like, we know 6,000 people want to be there, so we're going to raise the price to $1,000 a head, and we're only going to let 250 people in, and that's going to be seen as our game is super successful and everyone wants to play it, and that's going to lead to further sales down the road as a marketing strategy. I think the more likely answer is like, we're not quite sure how many people are going to be here. We kind of looked at the Sorcery cons and stuff. It's in Boston. It's kind of a big Avatar of the Realm tournament. We look at kind of FFG Worlds. I think Jesse probably has some experience with what the Worlds events were like for Fantasy Flight Games. Those had, 500, 600 players across a bunch of games. So you also don't want to do the thing where you open up 2,000 slots and have this massive convention center and you have a tiny little table in the middle where all your players are. So I think it probably was a genuine, like, I don't know, like this seems like the right amount of players. Maybe we want a tournament of 256 or something. Like that's a really clean number.
Yep.
And then we open it up and it sells out in a second. And then we're like, and that's the same way with Dragon Lord with them.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. And so it goes back to our old podcast, when success isn't enough. Like, you sold out of Dragon Lord, you sold out of Avatar of the Realm. Are you celebrating that, or are you constantly saying it could have been different, it could have been better, we should have done?
Yeah,
hindsight.
Well, I made some notes on that because I think that'll be our way back into the discussion. So let's loop back around to Sorcery in a second. Other things going on: Warlord OP kits have officially shipped to stores all over the world. I've seen stores scheduling these events and starting to host them. We've been talking about this for weeks on the podcast, but Overlord Systems is officially launching. Check out the Warlord website. They should have a list of the stores that are getting it, and basically where you can find out how to play these. It officially begins.
Beautiful.
Which is very exciting.
Beautiful.
Next, Alpha Clash spoilers continue for the PvE 2 is what I'm referring to it as. The Vault Trials. And this is their, reminds me of Ashes Ascendancy, 2-player decks with a scenario that you can play against. You can play solo, cooperative, and head-to-head out of the same box. That is coming out in a few weeks. So if you haven't checked that out and are interested at all, highly recommend it. Next, this is a curveball. Actually, I don't even know if you know this. I just thought it was an interesting little tidbit.
I was going to ask you if I could announce the number of stores for Sorcery that have signed up for Fulfilled, because I looked at that number yesterday, but I'm not going to.
Great. Let's pivot for a second to Arkham Horror Marvel Champions. Okay.
Oh, so they combined now.
This is the news is combined.
So Asmodee.
But they did announce a new Arkham Horror expansion.
The mini campaign thing?
Yeah, which we will be, if you have a subscription, we'll be spinning up pre-orders for that soon. So like today or tomorrow. So if you have a subscription, that ought to get created. You get an email about it. That's a big change in the way this has historically worked for games in general, especially Arkham Horror came out in 2016. We have subscribers that have been around for a decade.
We played it heavy during the pandemic.
Yeah, but they announced a new expansion coming out in a few months, so that'll happen. But the main thing that actually I came across my radar is their owner, Arkham Horror, made by FFG, owned by Asmodee, posted their like public quarterly earnings report.
Whoa.
And I saw it come across.
So the owner, I was checking comments, I'm sorry. The owner of who? Of Asmodee? Or
Asmodee.
Asmodee posted their quarterly
report.
Yeah,
so there's interesting tidbits in here.
And they broke it down into individual games like this?
No.
Okay.
But important to remember. So Asmodee, FFG gets bought by and or acquired by Asmodee. Asmodee North America gets formed, but there's also Asmodee Europe, which is historically a distributor, FFG typically a publisher, and they both kind of like get into both sides of the business. But then that gets bought by some big company, which then gets bought from some big company.
That's right, XYZ Limited or whatever.
And at one point, they were owned by a company that had 3 main branches, one of which was Asmodee. And it got spun off, and with it, all the debt from all 3 companies got spun into this because Asmodee was the one profitable branch of this bank.
And this is how our world has worked.
Yeah.
We've decided.
So they have this fancy PDF year-end report, Asmodee inspired by the players.
Yeah, don't forget the rebrands, Zach.
Yeah. So check this out,
I'm
okay?
inspired.
In, I believe this is euros. That's what that symbol is, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yep. For Q4, their Q4, which I don't think is a calendar year.
We're such a good pairing, really.
Yeah.
You know so many things I don't know, and I know the rest.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a euro.
Versa.
So
yeah, no, it's just
I'm feeling my way through this.
We just
so they had in one quarter net sales of 407 million.
That's revenue.
So
Nobody cares about revenue.
if you maintain that, right, that's 1.6 billion in revenue. But here's where just kind of, I'm a finance person, so like I'm reading through this, and this is kind of interesting to me. 407 million. So they have a distinguished, and there's like bullet point list. Games published by Asmodee Studios decreased by basically 10%.
I believe that. Yeah.
And games published by partners increased by 31%. So if you have 100 partner games, now you have 130.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have 100 Asmodee games, now you have 90.
Mm-hmm. And a game published by Asmodee would not be Arkham Horror.
That is a game published.
That is a game published by Asmodee? Or is it published by Fantasy Flight as a
Well,
partner?
I don't think Asmodee publishes anything as Asmodee.
Okay.
Which is what's weird about the rebrand inspired by players, because Asmodee being on a box is not something that I'm familiar with anyone caring about.
Yeah. So partners are, we don't own the studio, but we're partnered with them like they did with Altered.
Like they did with Altered.
Okay.
Like historically, they were a major distributor of Pokemon in Europe as Asmodee.
Yeah. Got it.
Etc. Their adjusted EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, it was actually 54 million. So this is more like a gross profit kind of number. But things that are interesting, they have an adjusted profit for the quarter of 29 million. And then their profit or loss for the quarter is actually negative 13 million.
Okay.
So
what does that mean
it's just tax stuff. So like
terms?
There's cash flow, which is like we spent 100 million, but we made 200 million. So we have 100 million in extra cash. But there's a lot of weird things where like on a tax basis, you would never talk about it that way. Because as an example, if you bought this table or a computer as a business, normally you're going to depreciate that asset over like 20 years. So even if it cost you $2,000 today, on your taxes, it's not a $2,000 expense. It's a $200 expense across 10 years.
Got it. Yeah.
And they bring over a ton of debt
mm-hmm.
that is not an expense and that would not come out of your profit, but might be a bill you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're paying it, but on your taxes, it's not like this is a true cost, right? Now, the interest on the debt would be a true cost because that's like a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the principal you're paying down is not a cost. That's a whole,
it's just sitting there.
Tax thing.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned all of this essentially, and they have a bunch more. It's this crazy PDF. And they're apparently, I think they're public in Europe. However that works. Anyways, that's why this whole report's coming out. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's different rules.
Yeah, there's different rules.
But it was just kind of crazy to me.
Now, what's your takeaway? Give me the cliff notes.
Two takeaways. TLDR. Seems like Asmodee is doing somewhere between $1 and $2 billion in business revenue.
And that still
globally
puts them in the worldwide corporation environment. That's very small, I would say, right?
That's a good question. I think they
compared
are
to like Nike.
I mean, what do you think Nike's annual revenue is?
Now that I say that, 1 to 2 billion sounds awesome.
Annual revenue
10 billion
last year was 46 billion
for Nike.
I
mean, okay, they're on the B side of the equation, I guess.
So the takeaway for me is that just kind of understanding their scale and scope was interesting, and the fact their CEO seemed very positive about these numbers, which all CEOs are going to be positive about their numbers. Like, yeah, we lost money, but it was great for these reasons or whatever it is.
But it was the right decision.
But I mean, Nike, like, okay, for easy math, let's say it's $1 billion. So you're like 2 or 3% the size of Nike in terms of revenue. And Nike,
so they're a pretty big player. Is what you're saying?
Gigantic. Yeah.
What's the? Can you look up their revenue for like Philips or like one of these? What are the big like oil and gas companies?
One Oak? No, that's Oklahoma.
I mean the big ones. You know what I mean? Like the major players. I want to know where the real big money is sloshing around. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like for context, let's just look at Apple. 416 billion.
Okay.
And they're one of the biggest companies on earth.
Yeah.
In terms of revenue,
most profitable, and they're more profitable than most.
Yeah, and like generally speaking, I'm never overly impressed by a company's revenue profit is where the money is actually made.
You can waste money all the time.
But it gets complicated because the way the structuring happened in the desk and all that kind of. But there's a scale to the business that is just worth understanding. I think the other thing is just seeing. I felt like I've never known after the FFG acquisition whether they want to be a publisher or not.
Mm-hmm.
And there were visions of Asmodee North America that were pitched, and this is how we get back to Arkham and Marvel, where it's like, we're going to take all the business functions out and just let you be a design studio, and then we will do the distribution, marketing, accounting, taxes, CEO, strategy stuff, but like you can just literally make the products. But it seems like the feeling I've been getting is more and more that they're a distributor more than they are a publisher. And like their way into North American distribution was acquire FFG and all these other companies and have exclusivity to force people into our distribution system to then get the momentum to become a North American distributor. Because they're very much a North American distributor at this point.
Are they doing Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you know?
I don't. But I don't think they are. And
does anybody know? There's store owners out there.
And I also... there are whispers. I catch glimpses of this. I think Pokemon is moving into their own distribution.
They absolutely are. I don't know how that didn't happen a million years ago.
Side note, I'll just go ahead and put this on record. If Magic and or Pokemon pull out of the traditional system, expect turbulence. I mean
it's like
I think it could be a reckoning on distributors and local retailers.
That's like wraiths screaming and leaving the building kind of cataclysm. That's like opening the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones. It will be absolutely wreckage.
A reshuffle. Anyways, that came across and it was like not information that I had ever really seen before in this sort of way.
Are they bigger than you thought? It makes sense why you're like, why don't they care about Arkham? You know, or like, why don't they?
Well, and so when I was at Gamma, I ran into some people on the FFG team at this point, and there's definitely there's a gap between FFG and Asmodee, where like it would be easy to think that they're just one unified company, and it's not that they're not, but it's like the people that I interacted with from FFG, it was very clear how much they cared.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine, I don't have almost any interaction with anybody at Asmodee at this point, how much they care about insert very specific game by a very specific publisher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much that
they're not going.
exists.
No, they can't. Right? Yeah. When you get to a scale, you can, and that's why you either do or you don't scale up to that degree. You're solving different kinds of problems. The problems are much bigger. They're worldwide, global distribution, freight level problems more than they are. Are you going to include this investigator or that investigator?
Yeah.
But I do think it's also, I think we can learn this lesson a million times, and they'll still say it in the public press releases anytime this happens. But this idea that this big corporate entity is going to buy something, let it continue to do its thing unhindered, and then just handle all of the garbage that it doesn't want to do. It's a company of that scale will inevitably send signals down the chain, not just accept things coming up the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Your sales aren't high enough. Your game is too expensive to make. The form factor is hard to ship. You need to release more products. Those kinds of things stem from the fact that I'm handling the business activities for you, but I'm not going to not evaluate them, right? So to think that there's this panacea where the FFG studio gets to do whatever it wants, and then Asmodee just does the distribution, it also goes the other direction.
Yeah, well,
make these kinds of games. These games sell better. These form factors. These price points.
So in the report, other kind of macro things going on here are TCG sales going up across the board. Yeah. Their owned things like Star Wars Unlimited, but also other games they distribute. And I think that's a big part of why you see them publishing less and distributing more. And it felt like for a while, Asmodee's strategy was, we want to buy companies with evergreen titles and then just be an evergreen board game company.
Of course. Yeah.
Which is great. But now the TCGs are hot.
Mm.
It would make sense to me that you would lean back more into distribution that you don't necessarily own, because it's like, it's the old, when there's a gold rush, sell
the picks.
Sell the picks. Don't opt for the gold.
Yeah.
And so, there's this kind of second 90s boom, golden era of TCG rush going on. And you see Cyberpunk going crazy, right? And it's like, we can just do nothing except for ship things like we've been doing for years and clue into this. And then once all this fades, we'll still have all these evergreen titles. So like, anyways, you just get kind of a glimpse, and they're only going to share the things they want to share. But
Cyberpunk did what, 20 some odd million, 30 million?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I want to see how much it ended on. And this is relevant because like, that's the card database. The reason I bring that up is because this Kickstarter alone, I think, would be one of the bigger line items on a yearly Asmodee spreadsheet. If any of their games are bringing in $28.3 million
for one set.
For one set. So if you even extrapolate that out to 3 sets, you lose 50% on your second and third set. Let's
40,
say
50 million a year.
You're looking at a $50 million year for this. That has to get, even at 1 to 2 billion in revenue, that is a significant line item.
Yeah. Well, so 50 million, this is probably closer to MSRP than not. So really it ends up being 20, 30 million. But even, and this is why the scale is important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's easy for there not to be an appreciation of the scale. And this relates to a lot of different conversations, right? From the, even this $28.3 million Cyberpunk campaign. How big is that actually?
That's only 50,000 people. That is crazy how few people that is.
Yeah. Well, and I think there are people that think the industry and or these games and these publishers are much smaller or much bigger than they actually are. And you don't get a lot of signs unless there's a public company for how big any of this actually is, or it's like a Kickstarter, right? And this will loop perfectly back into our FOMO conversation with Cyberpunk. But I just thought that came across and hit me in a weird way, and I didn't know exactly why I wanted to talk about it other than felt worth sharing. But it was clear from that they're expecting TCGs to also keep pumping.
That's a good thing to pull from that. I'm glad that you did. Thanks for telling me. Hey, do you have FAB on the list? Because we're shipping those out today, yeah?
Yeah, I do have FAB on the list.
Okay. I wanted to get just Omens of the Third Age right out.
It's technically FAB, but it's also Covenant related. There's the Covenant news section, what we're doing.
Oh, okay, I see.
Well,
I thought FAB players maybe would like to know that,
Yeah. So you want
anyway, they're shipped.
Well, let's
shipping.
Let's segue into the Covenant news section because that's going to be the end before we get into the main topic. So Echo of Omens is a
that's the CTP coming up.
Oh my gosh,
is that
there's
another
Echoes
Echo?
of Eternity is the Alpha set. Echo of Omens is the CTP game.
Dude, there's too many Echoes. Echo's a character in freaking Ashes.
Omens of the Third Age shipping today.
Boom.
And that's happening.
Done.
Other things going on. We posted our player documentary from
Man, go watch that, y'all.
The Earthborn Visit. And
it's so good.
We're experimenting. There's a B and C testing on thumbnails and titles and stuff.
It does fit into our topic.
Yes, it does.
This whole world is this topic, dude.
It's something we're really wrestling with right now. So we've been working with Earthborn to just try to let the world know about this game and why they should care about Earthborn games in general. And it's led us a lot of fascinating realities. Even this podcast topic stems from that. So that kind of gets us to the end of the news. So the things floating for me are Avatar of the Realm event. There's also Hub World and or Trailblazer campaign compared to like Cyberpunk. There's also just like modern day marketing, communication, etc. So ads, you have a place you want to start here?
Yeah. So I think the first big question when we say FOMO, right? So we have this, it has a negative connotation, at least in our circles. And I think in general, it's probably a neutral to negative connotation out there in the world. That it's seen as kind of, this is the word we use for something that's somewhat exploitative and kind of like on its merits, not good enough.
Just to unpack that. So fear of missing out.
Yes, that's the key.
Fear being a emotion that you can utilize to get people to do something, right? If I was telling you insurance policy, and it's like one way to do that would be trying to get you to be afraid. And it's like, but this is the thing that's going to make you safe. And on the one hand, that might be positive. It's like, hey, if something happens to you, what's going to happen with your kid? That's fear.
Yeah.
And that might be something you should be afraid of. But anyway, so...
And if you don't do this today, it's going to be twice the price tomorrow.
Yeah, so like what...
Here's my question to you. What does successful marketing look like that doesn't generate a fear of missing out on the product that's being sold?
Successful marketing. I think that adding something new and positive and showcasing why it's new and positive to your life, it can, like, the thing that immediately came to my mind, I don't know if it's true, so I'm trying to actively talk and put it through the test, is
right on the spot here.
I remember when, and it's, before I answer this, worth reiterating the intent that we have here. This is a conversation. We have we didn't pre-have this conversation. I don't exactly know where it's going. I don't expect it to stop. We will end the show. There will be the industry discussion channel in the Discord, and then we'll have future topics open to comments, live stream comments on the video after, comments in the Discord. So we're all here just trying to figure it out. And
that's right.
I want to be clear about that.
And my position actually is that it is a necessary thing to be doing in modern day marketing if you want to be successful.
Yeah. Well, I like that little tease of your eventual thesis here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring it.
The thing that I thought about is in the early 2000s, the iPod and the ads, especially the marketing / ads for that, with the silhouettes and the white strings and the thing, and even just like, I remember when the iPod, what was it? It wasn't the Shuffle. There was the old brick iPod with the wheel.
One of the greatest of all time. I still guess
the iPod after that with the back that was shiny silver. I forget what that was called. It wasn't Nano or Shuffle. But there was an iPod. I wanted that so badly. I can't.
So you were fearing missing it and having it.
I grew up with very poor.
Yeah.
So
how do I say this?
I wanted that iPod. I remember like occasionally you would go to the mall for one reason or another, and you go to the Apple store, and it was just like to hold the iPod. I can't tell you. Anyways, the reason I say that is like, I'm trying to think if that marketing at all was anything about FOMO, because it wasn't like impossible to get. It wasn't collectible. It wasn't like they were saying, here's how bad your life is without it, or here's what's going to go wrong. But it was like, wouldn't it be cool if 1,000 songs were in your pocket? Was the marketing. And isn't this cool? I don't remember feeling fear about it as much as desire on this thing. And it's beautiful. Like, I thought it was beautiful and it's amazing. And like, I had an old Walkman that my older brothers had, and I would go on runs and it's skipping. It's like, you're solving these problems for me. Anyways.
See, and I think that's fascinating because I learned in my philosophy journey that this is basically the core tenet of Buddhism that we're talking about. So,
let's go.
Human beings are always running from what they fear and running towards what they desire.
Oh, yes.
And that is the cycle of suffering that we find ourselves in. So why is it that the fear of missing out is seen as worse than the spurring someone to want something?
Well, I think either one could actually be negative, because I think, as an example, like, it depends on your answer to the purpose of life, but actually, like, even I'm talking about this iPod, right? Like, the thing you could be getting someone to desire is like, wouldn't it be cool if you, could like do these things that are potentially not great? Or like, you had so much money, you could just do whatever you want and tell people and be mean and be a horrible person and do whatever it is. I know plenty of people that desire things that are not things I would consider to be good. Like, they want to get into elected office to like benefit for themselves versus like actually help people. And so I feel like either side of that coin could be used. Like I said earlier with the insurance thing, like, I'm sure I haven't gotten there yet. My daughter's not quite 2 yet, but it's like a healthy amount of fear is good. Whereas I feel like, I talk about this with my wife a lot. Her family, especially her, like one generation above her, grew up with a lot of fear, like an unhealthy amount of fear,
right? And
like a distrust of in general. And she's kind of like constant. Things are happening. It's like, it's cool. Anyways, I say all that to say, I feel like either direction, playing on people's emotions to get them to take action, is maybe more generically what we're talking about, right?
So yes, but I would, period. We agree,
period,
that the point of marketing at all is to get as many people as possible to want the product. Right?
So, no.
Okay.
This
Tell
is
me
good.
more.
This is good. I'm liking this. So, I think that the goal of as many people as possible is how you get into what I would consider bad marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, at least, and I don't know what this ultimately says, so saddle up. But it would be there's layers to this, but it would be getting as many people as possible that would truly benefit from this thing to understand it and know about it and to engage with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think what ends up happening is I would consider it bad marketing to sell someone something that they don't actually benefit from, even not for their sake, not altruistically, but as a business.
Mm-hmm.
Covenant, a good example of a business. If we sell a game and we pitch it and we make it sound amazing and we make it look amazing, and then you get it and you hate it, your trust in when we say that this is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right, goes down. And so in the long term, I think that's very negative. Like if they sold iPods to a bunch of people that don't even care about music, and it's like, oh, well, last time I bought something from Apple, it was kind of just a waste of my time and money, and it wasn't very good, and I didn't actually benefit from it. But if you get it and you love it and you enjoy it and it meaningfully adds to your life, to me, I think that's very good marketing.
And it's good because so, for instance, if you and I were running a race and the race was how many of this product could we sell, and we start the game and we're going to end the game at the end of the marketing campaign, and we're going to tally up how many have been bought. And if I sell more than you, I win. And if you sell more than me, you win. In that scenario, ignoring all of the future, I should get as many people as possible to want to buy that product.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of people play business that way.
Yes.
And that comes back to...
And I think that's how we're going to define FOMO. It's absolute short-term marketing sales at the expense of long-term brand trust and reputation. And I think that's why it has a negative connotation, because you can feel that this is an organization or a company that is just trying to hit this number or this quarterly whatever, and they'll say and do anything regardless of what I actually need, want, feel, care about.
That would be a really good way to fundamentally break down trust. But in a kind of modern business context sense, right? Like how you define the purpose of a business, not a specific business even, like what's the mission of this company, but what is the purpose of a business? And there was the very popular, like when I was started going to college, I was kind of in the transition period from this, but the very popular, like the job of a CEO is to provide shareholder value. Mm-hmm. That was very common in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Yep. And that script is being flipped quite a bit right now. But the reality of what is the purpose, and it's if the purpose is just maximize financial gain. One of the problems is that like you could do FOMO, you could do whatever you want, make a bunch of money now, and then just start a new company.
Exactly.
With said money and do it over and over again,
and
or have 100 different companies. That's the world
we're living in.
Well,
mostly. That's the side of the world that seems to me to have the most energy in it for the last 5 to 10 years.
Well, I think this topic is going to get crazy.
But because that's what the incentives are there for. That's your venture capital. That's your, I need to be able to turn over a product really quickly. I need to bring something to market. It may not be perfect. It may not be finished. How many units can I sell up front to fund then the next thing or the thing that I actually want to do?
Or just to make a boatload of money and go sit on an island.
Exactly. There just seems to be less of a, I'm here for the next 100 years. I want to establish some kind of like institution versus there's a race to see how many people I can part from their money. And if I can do that better than all the other people that are trying to do it, I get the millions of dollars. They get a product that doesn't matter, and I move on.
Well, and I think the question there, and there are some people that are very good about getting other people to part with their money.
They're you know them, dude.
For better or worse,
They're
right?
so good at it.
But hypothetically, in we'll just go here. Let's just do it. If you're here, saddle up. So in a properly functioning capitalistic system,
here we go.
Yeah, that's why I said here we go.
Adam Smith.
Adam
Smith, right?
Yeah. What should be happening is the people and or institutions or companies, businesses, providing the most value should be getting paid for providing that value. That's how it's supposed to function. That is not how it functions. That's in America today. That's not how it functions.
Just keep doing the edit.
Yeah.
In 2026.
Yeah. Well,
in this particular.
I don't. Anyways, it's not one for one. I mean, I think that's the reality. Is like over time. Yeah, I do think people that provide a lot of value do end up making a lot of money. Typically, it's not that doesn't happen, but also people that present as providing value can also make a lot of money. Actually, and that's just another thing that has happened is the internet. And I think the internet, on the one hand, is really amazing because it democratized a lot of things. Whereas before, to run an ad campaign, as an example, you had to have media budget and you had to work with networks and you had to run TV. And before that, you had to run into papers. And if you think about 50 years ago, what you would have to do, the number of people that can just start a YouTube channel and I make, these little journals and I have a Shopify thing and you can buy it from me. It's so much easier. And we actually see this in TCGs with crowdfunding.
That's the key thing. I think what you're talking about, to put it in a different spin, is that there used to be a really high level of investment necessary to market and get products to market at all. And that required a longer term view on when you were going to be able to get that money basically to work back your way. So I'm not going to spend $100,000 to get something to market unless I maybe want to actually do this for a while.
Yeah.
That cost being so high makes it to where you need a long time for it to pay back, basically.
Yep. So I'm reading a book right now about Eben Land. He was the founder of Polaroid. And but beyond polarized lenses, which was his early science, he was more a scientist than a business person, but became a business person because science. Of course. So polarized lenses was him as an example.
Bless him.
And that has a lot of applications, and he became very wealthy because of it. But the actual thing he became wealthy from was instant photography, print the thing out, shake it like a Polaroid picture, and it's really amazing. I bet, I'm reading the story, and they're talking about the timelines and the different scientific discoveries they're making and stuff. And so, it's he's fascinated with light his whole life, but then after being fascinated with light his first 30 years. They start 30, 35 years. He has a daughter. They're on vacation. He's got this clunky camera, takes a picture, and she's like, why can't it just show me the picture right now? And then he's like, huh. Anyways, one thing leads to another, of course. But it's decades long to get to instant photography of trying to solve it, and millions of dollars to do this thing. Which is very different than what happens now. And the internet, and even the ability just to manufacture something, and find a factory in China that can just make something for you and do it. And I think it's just so much easier to do a lot of people. It's cool because a lot more people have access. I think the best comparable here is just TCG crowdfunding in general, which is people can make a card game right now that 20 years ago couldn't have.
And this is the dichotomy that we have to deal with in everything in our lives, in this kind of generational reality that we find ourselves in, where you always have the good with the bad on these kinds of phase transitions, if you will. And we were obsessed with the good of removing the historical traditional gatekeepers that had done a lot of damage and kept a lot of people out, all the way back to racism, sexism, etc. We see it in Hollywood even, continually. But by having a big burden of entry to get in somewhere, you've got to know people, you've got to have connections, you've got to be a certain kind of person, you've got to talk the talk, you've got to have family that knows this guy and that guy. And that is a big downside for an indie band that is extremely talented but can't break into a major record label because they don't have those connections.
Yeah. And now you can just publish your album to iTunes.
Yeah, 100%.
But also...
So we remove this barrier, and all the indie bands can go on Spotify now.
Yeah, which is hypothetically great.
But there is downside, and one of those downsides you're talking about is that the entry cost being so low floods the space with noise. But also, and I think this is really relevant for TCGs, we've had this confluence of all board games in general. Entry cost to make and post about your game is lower than it's ever been. We have crowdfunding as a platform. We have manufacturing pretty well sorted out. You can go get quotes and project costs and whatnot. They'll ship it from China to your shore or wherever you're getting it manufactured. Get it into a warehouse. There are third-party logistics people. You've got the whole chain that you can just pretty easily get something done. Not easily, but a lot easier than it used to be.
Easy compared to 1960.
And then on the other side of that equation, the awareness of your product is also technically cheaper and easier than ever. You run ad campaigns, you've got social media, you've got target board gamers, go to Board Game Geek, click on an ad, buy an ad slot, get in front of all the right people. So because entry cost is easier and awareness / marketing is technically easier, that gap means that you can stand to make a lot of money if you're good at both of those things.
Yep.
But you only have to do it once.
Well, I think there's the fact that you only have to do it once. Like if you can rip off a $28 million first campaign, if this was not a licensed thing, if Sorcery had just done this as an example, crazily enough about Kickstarter, they could have done it and never delivered anything.
That is the insanity of it, yeah.
But let's just say you do deliver it. $28 million campaign, all costs and stuff in, and you get it delivered. That's like, you could be done. Quit playing the game ever again. No matter how good or bad that is, you're just done. You're out, right?
Yeah.
But I think where I'm going with this is like, okay, remove the barriers. Good. Tons more people have access. We get a lot more variety. You get a lot more competition, a lot more people in.
Be more democratized.
But higher competition means that the tactics with which you try to sell your product and or market it can get a lot more aggressive. And you can bleed. There's a line somewhere, and it's going to be different for everybody. For all would-be tactics on moral versus immoral, good versus bad, there is things that are legal. That doesn't make them good, right? I think about the example from Discord I was going to mention earlier is the Oklahoma City Thunder. There are people in the Discord complaining about the Shea, the main OKC guy, flopping too much.
Now, flopping, for many of our fans who are as familiar with basketball as I am, I have come to understand that flopping means you're basically faking an injury, getting knocked down because you're trying to get a call against the other team for being too rough with you.
So
is that fair to say?
Kinda. It's really funny. Our friend Eric, I play basketball with him most Mondays, and he's like an amazing card game player. And he hadn't ever really properly played basketball like over much, and so he's really got a lot of curious rules questions. And one of his big ones he keeps asking is like what a foul is and isn't. And essentially, it's like whatever the ref decides it is. But one of the things
I'm
is
sure
like,
he loves that answer.
Yeah, like if you're on offense and I'm on defense, it's like sometimes contact's okay, and sometimes it's a foul. So where is the line? And it's like honestly, it's sort of like an umpire calling a strike or not in baseball. Like, is there a specific, or is it just their thing? Yeah. So, but the reality of a flop is that like technically, if you plant your feet on defense and I run into you and knock you over, it's a foul on me on offense. But if you're moving your feet, we can touch and no one's fouling. Also, if we're both moving our feet, but you're touching me too much as the defender, that can also be a foul. So a flop sometimes is dramatizing something that actually happened, which is like I bump into you and you fall to the ground, even though you didn't actually fall to the ground. But, like I did bump into you, and you can, if you're good at it, you can sell it and make it look like I really steamrolled into you. And sometimes
I've seen that.
They'll call a offensive charge after a flop, and they'll zoom in and do the replay, and it's like I actually didn't even touch you. Like I got close to you and I was going towards you and you fell backwards, and because of where the ref was at, he couldn't see whether or not we touched, and he called it, right? So interestingly about that example, that whole example, just to say what is happening with a flop is actually within the rules.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's like the respectable way
Yes.
to play the game.
That's
right.
That's right. And that is such the crux of this, because
yes, it is.
You look at Andrew and Earthborn and Trailblazer, and you look at a number of, I would say, our audience historically, and even the FFG games, the LCG. I mean, the LCG format in its entirety was kind of attacking this exact thing. It's like this FOMO driven, gotta buy all these booster boxes, get all the cards because I'm going to get left behind and I won't be able to compete if I don't have everything. And so consume. And they came in with a bit of a moral high ground and said like it's the best player, not the richest player, who's going to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, I mean, that on its face is saying it shouldn't be the person who can spend those money that is winning the tournaments. We think that's wrong, even though that's legal, even though that's well within the bounds of the tournament rules and the legal structure of the United States. But we believe it's wrong. And a lot of people agree with that. I mean, when you say that out loud, you say, should it just be the person who can afford all the cards that does the best at the tournament? Or should everybody have an equal shot at winning and we get to see who's the most skilled player?
And even that is, how do you define equal? Because we all have equal access to buying cards.
Sure.
So like, it's not as though you're saying, actually, Steven, I'm going to give you this card no one else can have.
Yeah. It's not like if I have blonde hair, I can't buy the booster box,
yeah.
right?
Or like,
run at that level.
It's the birthday of Pikachu. It's like, if it's your birthday, it has this crazy thing.
Right.
It's like,
that's just
a hilarious thing, thinking about like giving a card to 10-year-olds that is better on their birthday, but also like, how do you ever think about verifying that? As an absolutely bonkers thing to do. Anyways, carry on.
But so there's that, and that there's one side, almost one side of society, I would say, and there's a values set here, or even mores, that basically say we all agree that this is wrong, even though you can do it. But then the thing that I feel, and maybe a lot of people are feeling this, is, and we see it in our industry, it's kind of replaced, or at least it's being overshadowed by this idea that if you're the one who's falling for it, that's fair game. Like, that's on you, buddy. Like, if I can convince you to buy something that you think is cool in the moment, and you give us your credit card and we take your money and we deliver on that thing that we told you would be cool, and it turns out not to be cool, and maybe we overestimated it a little bit, and maybe, marketing, we made it sound great, and of course we're going to take the best product shots we can, and of course we're going to hide the little imperfections, and of course, that's on you. You didn't do your due diligence. You couldn't resist the beautiful marketing that we had. So why is it my responsibility to make sure that you don't fall for something that you're saying you want?
Yeah. Well, and I think...
do you think it's fair to say, do you feel that as well? Like, do you feel that is the fundamental tension that happens here, where there is one side that says, not overtly, but like, we have certain values, mores, whatever, that know that this is wrong. We can't exactly tell you why, but like, we're pretty sure that this way of marketing, this way of doing it is wrong. But there is the tension with the other side that says, yo, we're putting our message out there. We're showing you what we're selling. If you're falling for it, of a kind, and you're buying an all-in pledge that maybe you're going to rig out later, that's on you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's this is such a complicated conversation, actually, because where exactly you fall on that spectrum, and when that actually, like, what is actually, there's a word for this.
Exploitation.
I mean, companies have been sued for false advertising, right? I mean, that's like a whole big thing. So there's layers to, I think about the Pepsi challenge, the whole jet thing. Like, there's rules when it gets big enough for this to be a problem. I think I kind of want to go to a less just like black and white example, because that's one extreme. Let's actually just talk about Trailblazer for a second, and the thing you mentioned earlier, which is, okay, Trailblazer, a board game set in the Earthborn universe, currently on Kickstarter, right? And you were saying, well, what if right now the only incentive for backing the campaign, only incentives, breaking it down for a second, you want to support what they're doing, and so here's my money, I'll buy the thing, and I'm going to get whatever I want.
Which is to say, they're going to get more of what you're spending on this game than they would at retail. Like, that's what you mean by supporting the company.
Well, yeah, I mean, presumably if the Kickstarter doesn't fund, they don't make the game at all. So some number of people need to do this for the game to exist at all. But the incentive for backing now is they have a little bit of a discount that comes with it. You guarantee that the thing is happening and are like supporting them. And
you get it early.
You presumably get it early. And that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could look at this and be like, yeah, that looks really cool. I'll wait a year.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's on the shelf in front of me, decide if I want it then or not.
Or like, yeah, I'll wait. I'll see what all the reviewers say. I'll let it do the rounds. And maybe in 2 years, I'll grab it.
So like, let's just hypothetically ratchet this up. One at a time, right? Okay, so first one.
Hold on, I have to get it. Chris, breaking news. Chris is saying that flopping is actually against the rules.
Well, it's not against the rules. The rest aren't going to call it.
Well, it could be against the rules, but it's not meaningfully against the rules. It's kind of like a lot of the things that we deal with in corporate America, too. It's against the rules, but is it ever enforced?
In the basketball example specifically, I think of the Bad Boys in the 90s from Detroit. Like, they were, that was aggressive. Like, they were trying to hurt people. Mm-hmm. And we're allowed to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I mean, it's a foul, but like you're fouling someone trying to get their head to hit the ground first. Mm-hmm. Like, and they literally had like a Michael Jordan rule, which is like, don't let him get in the air. Mm-hmm. So if he goes to jump on the ground.
Yeah.
You could genuinely hurt someone, ruin their career, et cetera, et cetera.
Whether that was in the rules. I mean, it was a foul. You would get called for it, but
it's the same way that like a speed limit of 65 is the rule. But I can go 80. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I get for breaking the rules is a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like the rule is if you break the rule, you're out of the game, kind of a thing.
Or your team loses or something. Okay.
So if it's truly a problem, like there's a problem with the rules in the basketball sense because there's multiple people on the court supposed to be responsible for making sure the rules are happening. Yeah. So if he is actually breaking the rules, why isn't anyone calling it?
And every time I watch basketball, I see this all the time. It's the kind of thing I said in the Discord. It's the kind of thing where your city has the worst traffic or the worst drivers. Yeah. Everybody says that everywhere. Yeah. Because that's what they experience. Yeah. So the team that you don't like is always the worst at penalties and flopping and all of that.
Yeah.
But as an objective basketball watcher, I think it's absolutely garbage all the time. Yeah. Like it's so unwatchable because it's always whistles and calls and that was a penalty somehow and now he's shooting the free throws. That guy's on the ground like it's not a team. It's not one team that's doing it. I assure you that.
Don't get me riled up on the state of basketball right now. Anyways,
all right, walk me through where you were going with that.
So I want to ratchet up Trailblazers campaign and see at which point we start getting uncomfortable with the FOMO.
Okay.
Like, can we actually get to the point where we're uncomfortable with it?
I know exactly where my line is.
First example is, let's say that the role cards that you play in the game, it's like, hey, if you back the campaign, it's the only way to get these. You have to back the campaign. And if you don't back this campaign, you're never going to get these again. This would be the fear of missing this thing, right? This is your chance to do it.
My game won't be complete ever.
So you get these alt-art role cards if you back the campaign. You'll be able to get everything else down the line, but this thing you won't get. Are we uncomfortable yet?
I'm fine as long as the rules text is the same in the main game.
Okay, so we're fine.
Cosmetics is totally fine with me.
All right. What do you think would be the next layer up of doing this?
So if you said Kickstarter exclusive set of 5 event cards that are not going to be available after the Kickstarter. They have unique rules text. They introduce a new credit quest line.
And even in a cooperative / solo board game, this is a problem for you. Tell me more.
Yeah. So it basically, it crosses that line of what the purpose of the campaign is. And it's so overtly about getting somebody to take action that is not about the product enriching their lives. Like, so for instance, what we know in that scenario is we know that has been designed already. We know that it can be printed. We know that it could be included in the main game. And so it feels like something that is being gated rather than an optional upgrade. Does that make sense? Like I said, this is hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, why are you... It feels more like you're taking something away from me because I wasn't there during the Kickstarter rather than giving me something as a reward. Like if I'm a player who comes along a year later and I just can't access some of the content that I want to play in this game, that hits way different than I can never get the alternate art version of the thing I want to play. And I think it all revolves around we believe that I believe that games exist to be played. Like the player side of it is the biggest part of it for me. And so if you're saying, because I missed this Kickstarter, didn't give you enough money, I won't get to play it fully, that's a lot different than I won't get to look at it in a different way.
How would you feel if this was the only way to get the game ever?
Yeah, that's a great question.
We're going to do the campaign. We're going to print to serve that.
That's totally fine. Totally fine.
But then a year later, you missed it because you weren't there.
I don't have any issue with that at all.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I don't have any issue with that at all. Now, I think for a publisher, that is probably a very tough proposition. I think more publishers would do that if they thought it would make them more money. But the idea that you have put all of the fixed costs into this thing already, and now you're just saying, I'm not going to sell it ever again, that's a tough thing to risk.
Be very collectible, potentially, if it was good.
It's a tough thing to risk. But it could mean you get $10 million up front, and that could be greater than the next 10 years of sales.
And having to deal with ongoing production and manufacturing and warehousing and distribution and sales and retailers and all this stuff.
And that's kind of what Kickstarter started as, in my mind, was here's the project and here's the thing we're going to make, and all of you back it, we make it, we send it to you, we're done.
I do remember early on Viva Java, I think, was the game that did this.
Oh my gosh.
Where
I haven't heard that word in that game in such a long time. I love that little game.
Yeah, I do too. I still have it. But it was crowdfunded, and then it became really hard to get. I mean, a modern game that just went through this, and they did their second campaign, was Old King's Crown. Even Earthborn Rangers, when it first came out, right? Came out, they printed. We had it in stock for a little bit, and it was sold out. And then it was just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then until the next campaign, when they reprinted it, you just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but you could go as extreme as saying, hey, this is actually the only time ever we're going to sell this thing. And I'm not saying that they should have done it that way, but like if you picture Trailblazer for real in that thing where it's like, hey, we have a game, we're going to make it once. If you want it, the only way to guarantee you get it is to back this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they have more or less funding right now?
They would have more funding right now.
It's interesting.
I think now that
I'm not saying that's best over the next 20 years, but
I mean the test is crazy because like you get one crack at it, but
yeah, you just stop the company and do a new one.
You either get, I mean, it really just tilts a scale hard one direction or another. You could also get such blowback from the value people, the mores people, that's like, I'm so opposed to this way of doing it because it means I have to have all of this money now, and I might have wanted this game later, but I don't have the funds currently, and I'm waiting for my next paycheck. And so I can't play this game that, again, I'm missing out. Like, it's the FOMO to the max. There could be such a, like, we need to stand against this on ethical grounds that nobody should back this. But I don't think that stuff usually works that well.
Now tell me
People
this.
talk, but they also, while one person's talking about how crazy this is, 20 people are opening up their wallets. That's my experience in the world at large.
It's kind of the fundamental problem.
Yeah.
Which is like, we'll come back to that. Hold on. Let me make a note. So, next question for you. I remember
a little Socratic method here.
Sorry. Well, no, I'm genuinely exploring. I'm trying to find the lines on it, and then the practical reality of the problem is it works.
Yeah, this is this is the question that Tommy's got. You guys have been talking about marketing and production. What about the people paying for the FOMO?
Yeah.
And again, this gets back to like, why are you supposed to be mad that it works?
Well, tell me this.
But if people are paying for this, maybe this is what they want. This is the fundamental problem that we have to deal with as a society everywhere in this world, especially in democratic societies. You can complain all day long about what you don't like and how dumb it all is and how crazy it all is. But for some reason, votes are going in. You know what I mean? So it's working whether you like it or not. And I think we've found that in all of these situations, talking about how it shouldn't be working doesn't get you anywhere.
Well, I forget who even said it, but it's a very classic economic line, which is like, don't listen to what people say, watch what they do.
Yes.
Because they're never the same.
Right.
They may not even realize what
Rarely
they're doing.
the same.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm logically
so
consistent.
let's go back to Trail. Yeah, of course. There's no dilemmas here. Let's go back to Trailblazers for a second. Okay, so they have the let me. It's like the deluxe-ified version where you get like the wooden tokens, the wooden meeples, and you get the dice tower, lone tree station stand, etc.
They're not exclusive though, are they?
But hold on a second. Kind of a comparable example. Another board game I love, Tokaido. At one point, they did a deluxe pre-painted minis, crazy production thing, and it was like the only way to get this is through this campaign. You're going to do it. We're going to back it. Even Ghost Galaxy did the Lord of the Rings Confrontation, the insane board. And it's like, this is just crazy for us to make. We can only make so many. And then it's like, the only way to guarantee you get is to back this thing. But Tokaido also did kind of a secondary game, which was the ship-based game. It had the miniatures and stuff. But how do you feel about deluxe versions in that only available through this crowdfunding campaign?
Totally fine.
Thing.
Completely fine.
Yep. Okay.
Completely fine.
And
it's funny about that is I wouldn't even care if the deluxe version had content that wasn't in the normal version, which is so illogical.
Now that is interesting in a weird sort of way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's problematic.
So like if Trailblazer had said, hey, the deluxe version, we're only making that available for the campaign, and then the only thing that's going past the campaign is the standard retail versions of this.
Just the box. Yeah.
Just the box and the expansion and whatever else.
Yeah, I think that all of that stuff being Kickstarter exclusive to me makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. Do you think that they would be further along than they are right now?
I think they would.
I don't know the numbers, but I would assume the number of people that back at the deluxe level would be higher because they're like, well, I'm already in for this. I probably want the deluxe version, so I may as well just do it because I don't,
But then how long before sales of wooden Trailblazer tokens and all of the deluxe components over the next 5 years actually leads to a more profitable situation than a big amount of money right now?
Well, and that's the question. Like, does it?
Does it ever?
Because if every time you do a campaign, if you build the brand that we have a deluxe version, the only way to get it is a campaign, how many people are almost just instant? Especially, particularly if you get Earthborn Rangers deluxe version and it's amazing. And then, because I did that with Tokaido.
Yeah.
It's like, I love Tokaido. They did the deluxe version, pre-painted miniatures. You had me. Like, great. Did the thing. And then they did, a year or two later, they did the ship one, pre-painted. And it was like, same designer, same aesthetic, different setting, pre-painted miniatures. I'm in.
Yeah.
Now, Earthborn specifically, though, has been building a brand on some very different parallels. So, as an example, the idea of having a deluxe version that is, FOMO'd, like you can't get it any other way, is a bit anathema to the way they've approached everything. And that could create friction where it's like, this wasn't how it was last time, but it is this time. So, like, I'm misunderstanding what you're doing representing here, but
it's an interesting thing from Steel Slime here. saying, don't conflate fear of missing out when you have the ability to choose with truly missing out because you cannot participate or afford. And that is also a really important piece of this conversation because I think it's it's kind of on its face obvious that not everyone can afford everything. So anything at a certain price point becomes FOMO'd to people who can't afford it.
Like the confrontation board.
A million things I can't afford right now, but that doesn't feel like a failure of the system. Some things are more expensive than others.
Yeah, but there could be marketing employed in a way to get you to make that decision to buy that thing even though you can't afford it.
Yeah, but that's on me. That's on me, right?
Is that always
down
true?
The road. I could always go down and gamble.
But let's say I'm marketing a $2,000 deluxeified version of the game, and you can't afford it. But then I'm like, hey, actually, you can sign up for this thing. 20% enters $5 a month for the next 286 years. Is there a line there where it's like, is it always on the other side?
For me, there is. It's such a no agency, man. We either believe in human agency or we don't, and that is a devastating problem.
So okay.
I recognize that's a devastating problem.
Yep.
Recognize.
All right. So let's just hang on that for a second. So let's say we put a lot of responsibility on the purchaser, player, consumer, however you want to.
Human being.
The person falling prey to the FOMO is the one who's at fault here.
Yes.
Let's just.
Yes.
let's loosely say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yes.
Let's
just go with it.
Let's just go with that for a second.
I'm not sure I actually believe that, but I'll go with it.
Yeah. Well, we're testing the theory.
That's
like the proof that we're trying to build.
If it's not that, then what is it?
So I'm a huge proponent of putting the responsibility on the person, not on anything else. But this kind of comes back to the note I made. I called it the Insta problem, which is like the number of people I know. It's not that I know that they know. Alarm goes off. You're laying in bed. The first thing you do is grab your phone. And the first thing you do is you click on Instagram or insert your preferred doom scrolling thing.
You have your Alani.
And maybe perhaps you have an Alani. And you, not specifically anyone, but you have your Alani and you just scroll through these 30-second, 60-second clips on whatever platform that are very like, I don't want to say clickbait, because to me, because clickbait would be like, I got you to click and then I didn't deliver on the thing that got you to click. That's another point here.
Just high brain stimulating,
but just like
short video content.
Yeah, just doing the thing. It's like, this is not actually adding to your life positive. Even just like the habit of constantly you're with people and you're on your phone, you're checking. I mean, being at dinner, looking over at a family of 4, all just on their phone. It's like
everybody knows it sucks.
We all know this sucks.
Everybody knows
like,
it.
We're all miserable, but they keep doing it.
But they're doing it.
Yeah. So there's a level of like, in the same way of you think about going a weird route like FDA, and it's like, well, what should they allow? What should people that make food that we consume and buy be allowed to put in the food? Is it up to the consumer actually?
Right.
To be fully responsible, or is there some obligation of society or government or whatever at large? Now,
and if there's not enough information about what's going on, how it might affect you, so that you can't make an actual choice, then that is also a problem.
Yeah. So the thing about marketing and FOMO is like there have been massive suits for false advertising, and false advertising is a certain category. But when you think about collectability or a tabletop gaming Kickstarter, and that's where the Asmodee thing is kind of interesting, which is like, what is the scope of this? Like, if Nike sells shoes that actually cause like terrible damage to your back, and they sell that to tens of millions of people, telling them it's a great running shoe, is that on the consumer or is that on Nike?
Not on the consumer. The consumer didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
but if Nike were to tell you, we're releasing a new shoe, there's no science at all about how this might affect you. We have no medical understanding of this. It's a totally new design. We've not tested it. You can buy it for $60 on the consumer.
Yeah. Which is
and so many people would buy it as a status symbol. So many people.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
a trailblazer. I'm a trendsetter.
Buying the thing. Well,
ow, my back.
But the thing about it is like, even at the Asmodee level, it's usually not big enough for it to become a legal matter, or like
it's not worth the cost.
As an example right now, the idea that 12-year-olds are on social media, to me, I think in 50 years is going to be insane.
It's like when the 11-year-old was smoking cigarettes.
It's going to be like, I cannot believe that was a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like FOMO in crowdfunding marketing for tabletop games, I don't think there's any laws coming down about that anytime soon.
Not going to change.
And so you have this interesting situation. It reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder thing, where it's like, yeah, I mean, technically we all know it's not exactly great, but when you look at action, like if you want to look at this Cyberpunk CCG campaign, like $28 million, 50,000 people says a lot in terms of like what is actually working here. And if you go to let me find it. Okay, let's just break this down for a second. Night City Legend level, MSRP $10,519. As part of the campaign, $7,999 plus express shipping.
Already the nines, that's manipulation, right?
Yeah, instead of 8,000, it's like $7,999.
Everybody knows that. Not everybody knows that.
Well, and here's what it comes. Here's what it comes with: 8 starter decks, 4 of the Heist featuring Night City Mercenaries, and 4 of Embracing Power featuring the Araska Corporation. 54 displays, so 54 booster boxes, and they go ahead and break it down for us. 1,944 booster packs. 2 polyhedral sets of premium Cyberpunk TCG dice. 1 Hanako Arasaka, Daughter of the Emperor Legend metal card. 1 pre-graded CGC card of V Corporate Exile. 6 uncut sheets of iconic rares, and 1 serialized legend metal card from 0 of 0 to 99, numbered 8. So $8,000, and there were only. Let me see if it says it anywhere. There's only 100 of them, so all of them sold.
Yeah,
every last one.
Why do I hate that so much?
And the question for me,
please, can you answer that for me? Why do I not? Why do I revile that?
Well, and is it just a taste thing, or is this a morality thing?
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting into like a crazy,
it's just an eye-rolling thing,
massive topic, but like it's working in like a most insane way possible. Everything. I mean, you have the metal card, you have the serialized card, you have the pre-graded, and grading's a whole can of worms. That could be its own topic. But they are pressing on like every button you can press on, and it worked. $28 million later.
So if somebody wants to do that, what is the problem? The only way that you have a problem with that is that you have a fundamental understanding of human willpower as being not in control of the person. Well, because they're not obfuscating anything. They're telling you exactly what you're getting. They say, we're offering this for this much money. You're saying, I want it.
And they're saying that the only way you're going to get this is backing this campaign at this moment, at this pledge level.
And then a lot of people are saying that's wrong.
And there's only 100 of them.
There's only 100. And these are all fine choices that anybody can make, consenting adults, et cetera, et cetera. But there's an undercurrent of what do we do when we, I would say, know that human willpower is not an equal asset across all people. That my ability to resist something is different from your ability to resist something, and somebody down the road's ability to resist something might be very low. So that the three of us could walk into a casino, 2 of us spend $20 and leave, and the other one doesn't leave and leaves their family and is homeless. What do we do when that is true? How do we orient our lives around the fact that that might be the case?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different examples. As someone in the chat was bringing up alcohol, and it's like, well, at one point we at least in America, made it illegal, and then that didn't work so well.
People just kept drinking it.
Yeah, because it's against the rules.
People just kept buying the serialized cards.
Right? Well, and like the problem with FOMO for me is that it's working, and it doesn't seem like people not participating in FOMO at all are getting a proportional reactive benefit. It's not like someone is like, hey, we all know doom scrolling on social media is not healthy. So actually the social media platform that just has 3-hour content that's like really meaningful and like serious, and there's no ads, everyone's willing to pay $50 a month for it, because we know that that's like a higher form of, or like whatever art you want, whatever it is you want to put it, or books are actually doing well, but it's not like it's not proportional, if that makes sense.
It's not like there's a giant flock of massive people that's basically saying, yeah, okay, we understand that social media is bad, we're going to go do this thing instead, and the business offering that thing then becomes much more successful because it's working. Instead, Instagram, Facebook, etc.
And they will keep doing it until it's illegal
to go.
So your casino example is funny, because it's like, well, one thing is we can make it illegal for there to be a casino that exists, but also then
we've done, as some states have done.
Is that actually? I guess everybody does. This kind of comes back to, is it on the proprietor or the consumer? Because it's like, is it the proprietor's job to make sure that you don't? Because, the casino is blatantly a casino and gambling.
They're making it look as tantalizing as possible to be there.
Yeah, and they're giving you there's no an outside light. There are free drinks coming around.
They're running ads.
They're like doing the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is the struggle. Because like another, going from Cyberpunk real quick to Sorcery, I think about their crowdfunding campaign, and their main thing was, crowdfunding campaign is how we're going to print alpha, first edition of this game, and that's the only way to get it. So you back it, we'll ship it, and then we'll release a beta version with a different icon on the bottom. Almost all the same cards. The only ones that are different are the curios that they don't talk about anyway. And there's some art change, but the gameplay, you didn't technically. Right now you can still buy beta years later. Don't miss out on anything. But that was definitely the only way to get X is through this campaign, which you could frame it a lot of different ways. One is just like, people that are here early, giving us money on the belief that this is going to be a good game, on just these some art they get to see, and a little bit of like early prototype gameplay. We're going to reward that.
Yeah.
With the alpha version of the game, which might end up meaning nothing in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be we're getting people to ratchet up how much they're buying because they know this is their only opportunity to get this thing. And they had at the time, biggest crowdfunding campaign for a TCG of all time. Now it's Cyberpunk by a mile. But it works, which is the thing that this title of this podcast. FOMO is necessary, I think is what it's called. And it's like a number of people in the chat being like, I
wasn't gonna watch.
I can't miss this. Yeah, this seems like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And like it's a genuine struggle for me, at least, because like I want to if you view business as a game, I want to play the game in an upright way. But at the same time, if you don't have a title like the one we just did, is anyone even going to be aware that you exist?
Yeah.
And how far are you willing to go?
This gets back to
it's
really
a slippery slope.
The meat of this on the business side is this is kind of the using the tools of your enemy thing that we've been talking about a lot, where it's like you taking a moral high ground just means that you have less power in the ecosystem. And would it not be better for you to play the game successfully, have that power, and then use it in a more altruistic way, right? So it reminds me
and justify the means, though.
It reminds me, so like I'm a tier 2 deck guy. I still don't really know exactly why. Sometimes I sneak into a tier 1 deck because it's also what I'm really interested in playing, like account siphon deck stuff.
Well, a tier 1 deck that at the time of you first playing it was unknown.
Yeah, that's the dream, of course.
You sneak in because it's like I solved the puzzle no one else could solve.
But I think about the early X-Wing community and the fly casual mentality, and Paul Heaver and these guys that were able to establish that culture really early by winning these tournaments and bringing a certain attitude and atmosphere to them. Now, if Paul Heaver had said, X-Wings are too good, like they're too easy to play, they're overtuned, I'm going to play something fair, which is like these B-Wings.
Yep.
And then actually he won with the B-Wings too, but then he loses the tournament.
Well, Paul's unfair. He's the thing.
Yeah, he doesn't even get into the top 8. And instead, the most degenerate players who are playing the most powerful lists are now the ones who are setting the culture of your competitive environment. You've done less good in this world by playing the thing that was fair than if you had played the thing that was powerful and used it to achieve your ends, which happened to be, in this case, maybe a very altruistic end of, I want the competitive environment to be a fly casual, camaraderie-driven thing. So, I mean, there are just countless examples. I think even about things like the presidency, right? You probably have to go through so many things that you would rather not be doing, depending on what kind of person you are, to then maybe get the power to then maybe change the things you don't like about what you had to do to get there.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, though,
right? Right, of course. But meantime, like you have, and I actually have a secondary gig for the guy that built my house. I'm helping him with marketing. And so we happen to both be finding ourselves back into Google and Meta advertising. And we've drawn a hard line on our website that we're not doing the pixel stuff. We're not doing the remarketing. We're not tracking sessions. Just hate it. I hate that freaking cookie consent banner that is on every website that just makes the entire internet such a pain to be on. So we're not doing that. But we're less effective because we're not doing that. And we're less effective for ourselves. We're less effective for our partners. Is that the right decision?
Well, and I think it's so tough. The tools of the enemy. So that's referencing the soliloquy at the end of the season 1 of Andor, which is amazing. He's talking about having to use the tools of his enemy. There's another thing I've been saying a lot lately, which is fundamentally, if you believe you have a product or an offering that will make someone's life better, the idea that you have a moral obligation to get good at marketing And there is a version of marketing which is like forcing people to do what they don't want to do, or like tricking them, or that kind of stuff, which is a different layer. But like
forcing,
you know, like
that's a word.
yeah, well, like in a just hypothetical universe, here's what is crazy. I feel crazy that I'm about to say it, but I believe it fundamentally to be true in my bones. Is like, if this Sunday from noon to 5 p.m. everyone on Earth had to play Earthborn Rangers. After that 5 hours, I do not think humanity is worse off.
Right. Probably much, much better.
I think actually way better.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the reality is, do whatever you've got to do to make sure the whole world has a chance to play Earthborn.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lines there, though, which is like,
but
as an example.
That's what we're talking about. Is there lines?
Yeah. For me, it's like, I'm willing to take whatever suboptimal outcome there is by not having a pixel on the website. Because that's a line I'm just, one, I don't want to cross, but two, I don't think it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to evaluate it, really, in the realm of, is it actually net positive for that to be true, or are you just willing to lose because of that? Like, and I've done this in tournaments. It was a good analogy. Is like, there were moments where I knew what the best deck was, especially with the Wolfpack and FAB. It's like, I know what the best deck is, and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, partially because I just couldn't play 14 rounds of this across 2 days, and I'm not going to play the 200 reps I need to play beforehand with this. I'm unwilling to do it. It's not. I would rather lose.
But then it's kind of like that. That example is kind of different to me, because the result of you winning doesn't equate in the same way that it does to Covenant, Earthborn Rangers,
it only affects me,
Trailblazer, etc.
Yeah.
But like, if our brand, if our company genuinely believes that this medium of exchange between two or more human beings, or really solo even too, but really the human connection that happens even through conversation, online, etc., that primarily us getting together, sitting down at a table like this, and putting a game in front of us as an icebreaker, a means of keeping the tension out of the conversation, a way to express ourselves imaginatively, creatively, to have an experience together, that is one of, if not the most important things that human beings can and should be doing and have done throughout history, and that it's necessary to connect us in ways now like that, because we're so disconnected, disparate, etc. Then, like you said, that is a different kind of moral obligation than running the best deck to get the 250 grand or whatever, no matter what you might be doing with that 250 grand. So I think history is littered with people who took the moral high ground and lost, and they didn't get their ends achieved.
But I do think that means something. Like,
there is a moral arc here that is beyond what happens on planet Earth.
Well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here.
But it must be that, right?
But like, what's the right way to say it? Like, if the only way to win is that path, and this is really a very zoomed out level decision, but it's like, is it any better than the opposite, the people who don't have good motives or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure it is, but you know, I was there's a book I was reading recently. It's the book club book Originals. It was talking about women's suffrage in the early days of that, and there's essentially two primary groups, and one of them was like very high ground. It became two groups because one side was very high ground, and that person essentially has been lost to history. Now they're being referenced in this book, and there's more of it now, because at some point there were essentially, the other group attached themselves to some radicals on other issues, and you know, the woman on this side was essentially saying like, the same problem we're trying to stop for ourselves is what they're proposing. We can't be seen with them even. They're like, ends justify the means, like make it happen.
Yeah.
And then it did end up happening.
Yeah.
And so it's like a very messy, like
politics is often that way. You build a coalition that is not full of people you 100% agree with on everything.
Yep. And so it's challenging. And that's part of early on. I was saying this is a discussion, not a conclusion, because like I think it's something that you have to wrestle with, at least as a business owner, all the time, and especially in today's society. Even for a very long time, us just kind of not using social media, us not really doing short form content, stems from this, where it's like that's not how we want to play the game. But then all of a sudden, it's like if you aren't playing the game that way, you're not playing the game at all.
I mean, you remember the old school example? The easiest old school example is when we first launched our local store. We didn't sell soda; we only sold Gatorade, because like we don't want to be just basically like poisoning people, because like this is not good. And we know like a lot of people in the hobby not known for the fitness and health, and so it's like, well, can we be a positive change and maybe just at least go from a really sugary thing to a slightly less sugary thing, maybe? And the response to that was, "Where's the soda?" And it was so much so that it was like, well, we're just losing money. Like, we have to just sell something that people will buy, or our doors will close.
Well, and like, do you want to make it an offering that makes people want to come in and play tabletop games together? And is that more important than the other elements? Because at the end of the day, if you're making it challenging for me to be here and enjoy my time here, but that also is really sticky, because it's like, okay, in the effort to get people connecting across the table and enjoying this hobby that we love and this art that we enjoy, you could do a lot of things that make that appealing. And you see this happening, and this is a beautiful
like
way
a cash tournament.
Well, let's just get to Avatar of the Realm, which that event sells out in 2 minutes. Interestingly, like they announced, hey, this is the day and time this is going on sale. But it wasn't pitched as like, we only have so many seats, so you better be there, and you better buy it, and you better do the thing. And so that is, there's a lot of things that you could use to incentivize an event like that they didn't do.
Yeah.
Like, so basically, there's some kind of, at the time they announced it, was some kind of special sealed draft thing on Friday. We talked about this on last week's podcast. There's the main tournament where the top performing winning record from every avatar gets a promo card, and some like paintings for the top 3. And the sorcerer team will be there with some artists. It's like, it's a cool event. Don't get me wrong.
That's sick.
Want to be there, but also it's not like FAB being like winner gets 200 grand.
Yeah.
Like, etc.
Yeah.
And so from a marketing perspective, and I am curious to get to the question of whether or not you think that's a major success or a failure, but like, it wasn't really marketed at all, other than they just announced it, and then they just put it for sale, and it immediately sold out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thinking about like, I want to say that the ends never justify the means. That's what I want to say.
And then you lived in this world.
Yeah, but it's so. And luckily, we're talking about marketing and tabletop games, right? And we're not talking about war and, I mean, just all. This is like such the least of our problems.
That makes it a good framing mechanism, though, I think, because it's the same fundamental thing extrapolated across time and space. And the thing that trips me up is I heard an interview with Matthew Perry, I think it was. Friends guys, Matthew Perry. Very much like got down in the hole of drugs, alcohol, etc., and has called himself an addict, and now did a lot of like addict, kind of like awareness stuff. So he was talking on a panel in this group and was basically being challenged, and one of the guys was basically saying what I was saying earlier, which is like, you can just not drink. Like, don't feel like you're a victim of some weird, like, just don't drink it. Or just have one drink and like then go home. And Perry was like, you don't understand what you truly don't understand is if I have one drink, I will not stop drinking. Like, really, I cannot stop. I cannot stop. And I don't know what that feels like. Like, that's not my experience at all. I can't even imagine what that would be like, because I can stop. But if that is true, and if there are people out there who cannot stop for whatever reason, whether it's genetic or, it's always the nurture, nature, etc., experiences they've had, raising, brain, maybe they stared at too many short form videos, etc. If that is the case, then what do we as a society have to adjust to accommodate that? Because if I got 100 Matthew Perrys in a room and I said $20 vodka shots, that feels exploitative, because Matthew Perry can't resist those vodka shots.
Yeah.
But if we got 20,000 Stevens in a room and said $20 vodka shots, to be like, I got a house to build. I can't spend $20 on vodka.
There'd be no vodka moving.
There'd be none.
Yeah.
And so there's something there that is so deeply troubling to me, and that is at the heart of this entire conversation of who's the Matthew Perry for booster boxes?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the Matthew Perry for serialized cards? And like, who's the guy who, once he starts buying boosters of a game, cannot stop cracking those booster packs?
Yeah.
And what do we do when we know that there are those people out there and they're the ones spending $8,000 in a Kickstarter campaign that they cannot afford? Is it still their problem? Is it still their fault?
Well, there's so many. Time is it? There's so many
Just
layers.
a yes or no answer, please.
Maybe. So the thing about that is, earlier when we were talking about, do we pin this all on the individual? And then, you keep, the word that keeps getting said, that just sticks in my brain a lot, is society. And I think as a society, it's a really fun lens to approach this from, especially because we're Americans. So we very naturally want to talk about our individual rights and freedoms and liberties and et cetera. Because you can take any example, booster boxes, alcohol, and it's like, well, if anyone struggles with this thing, should we just not have it? And that's a problem, because people can struggle with anything.
Right.
It's like, well, we can't have meat.
Can't have food. Yeah.
Because some people, and we can't have vegetables because whatever it is.
There's wild vegetarians.
Well, even just like fruit. It's like, okay, get rid of sugar, but there's still fruit. And then it's like, is that going to be addictive? Because anyways, you go down the list of whatever it is, TV or magazines or books.
Can't have cough syrup.
Yeah. Et cetera. Coffee. It's like, I mean, some people have a problem with coffee. Orlani energy drinks,
caffeine,
right? Yeah, but like,
say anything, yeah.
So there, I think the answer, and I know this is lame, I think the answer on responsibility can be yes to all the above. And there can be some responsibility on the individual. There can also be a responsibility on the society. So the people selling the things, the people making the things, the friends and family around, like, if you have someone in your life with an addictive personality who's addicted to buying boxes of cards, like, what is your role in this? Actually, and that's very un-American for me to say.
Yeah,
but
it's the only possible answer. They can't do it themselves, and the business really has no incentive to try to identify who's got a problem and to cut them off. Right, like the casino's not going to kick you out because you're spending too much money.
Well, no, they're not. No.
What
they may take your house, but they're not going to kick you out.
I mean, you could pass a law that says all casinos must track the amount of money going into the casino from any given credit card and turn them off at $1,000. But then everybody gets 20 credit cards, right? Like, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's practical to put it on either the individual or the business. So then it has to lie somewhere, or we're just threads of quantum energy spinning out into an unknown universe. I mean, that's also an option, and none of this really matters at all, which is also fine. But
is it?
Yeah, maybe it is. But your final question that you wanted to ask me was about Avatar of the Realm.
And there was a comment that I think was good here. So Allardell was saying Avatar of the Realm isn't FOMO marketing, in his opinion. It was grossly underestimated demand, which then created FOMO. Anyways.
Yeah, so and that just comes back to intent. I do think it would read one way if they said, we only have 256 slots. They will sell out instantly. We expect these to move quickly. Like, But they would still need to charge a lot for those tickets to benefit from doing it that way, right? You would need to say, like, you get a gold badge, you get, like, it's a $2,000 entry fee to this event. There's only 256 slots. Everybody here is going to leave with X, Y, and Z. And you build it up to this big thing that, like, you can't not be the person. You got to be there because it's the only way to get all these cool things and, like, status and all of these kinds of. They didn't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like, we think 200 some odd people probably want to come play this game, and they were like, oh, they really did.
Well, there's other things here too. Beyond that is, and for one reason or another, think about 3.0, which is if you look far in the distance, yonder. If you look yonder, did you know that's an actual measurement? Were you here? Was that you? No, that's someone else.
A one yonder is an actual.
Yonder is an actual distance. Wow. Did you know that? It started out as a distance. Yonder. You ready for this? It's as far as you can see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
I love that. Where did that come from?
I don't know where the word started.
Isn't that
like
amazing? An old Greek
it's
word
like the house yonder would be.
That feels like Old English.
That house that you can see yonder. As far as you can, or the mountain yonder, or whatever it is. That tree that's just yonder. Specifically, I'm talking about the last tree you can see.
That's one of those beautiful things I've heard all year.
So if you look out yonder, you can see a whisper of the dream that is 3.0, the perfect place on earth to play tabletop games. But I mentioned that to say that we are actually aspiring to build the greatest place on earth to play tabletop games. And I've said this when we're talking about, we went to the first Sorcery Con in Seattle, went to the second one in Vegas. And I preferred the first one, which was like 70 people in a little hotel room, to the 400 or 500 person convention style second one. So the reason I'm bringing this up is there's a lot of reasons you might have an event of a certain size. One of them is just that I'm picturing 3.0, and we aren't going to be able to host a 1,000 person event because I don't think that doesn't create the environment or the event that I would classify as the best possible experience.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen. And so I'm sure there'll be a lot of events that we have, and it's not intentional like FOMO market or anything. It's just we're building an insane space, the highest quality we can, which by that reality and budget limits, you can only build that space so big. And because I think the perfect event is somewhere under 150 people.
It is.
So given those factors, and also given another factor, like if we wanted to host a Sorcery event right now, you have to staff it and run it.
Yeah.
And mathematically, it's the factors of 2. Every 2 people, or every multiple of 2 that you have is an extra round. Because you're trying to, in a Swiss tournament, get down to 1 undefeated person, mathematically speaking. So 256, if that is the number, is a break point where at 300 people, you literally may as well go up to 512.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the same rounds of Swiss, and now you can have 500 people.
You're also making a big risk there, making a big investment.
Do you actually think 500 people will come and pay what they need to pay for this to make sense to you? Because it's not just will they pay the thing that you listed it at, but go find a space that can host 516, right? 516?
6 plus 6 is 12. It's getting into 2. Right?
512. 512. Is that right? Is that the megabyte number?
512, yeah. 512.
Whatever the number
That is the megabyte number, yeah. It's the oldest thing we've ever said.
It's the same thing, right? Like how many gigs are in a thing? It's always 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. It's the same tournament math.
Oh, right on.
Just factors of 2. So go try to find a venue that can host that many. And then compare it to venues that can host half of that many. And compare the price, compare the location, compare the quality, compare the access of hotels that are nearby. There's a million factors. Compare the number of staff you need to run a 256 person tournament or a 500 and X number of tournament or 1,000 number of tournament. It is actually, it's not additive, it's multiplicative. It's crazy what you actually need. Number of bathrooms, number of hotel rooms. You go down the list of like what you actually need. And so there's also a reality, like I pick Sorcery in my mind, has one of the most distinct, like, and particular taste profiles of a game. And I'm guessing there's very few spaces in the 500 to 1,000 person range that could even host an event that would be the kind of event that the team at Eric's Curiosity would want to host.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to them almost at all about this event, by the way. So I don't know. I don't know the number. I don't know the cap. I don't know the exact reasoning. But I'm assuming there's a very clear idea of the event they want to host. They decided to host it. They announced it. They announced the day and time early. They didn't just drop an announcement, say tickets are on sale. And then the game immediately sold out because the game is on fire. And so, like,
that's success.
Is that success or failure?
No, it's absolutely success. Yeah.
And I think that is kind of love it or hate it. That's like the sorcery brand, right? It's like, we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to do one set a year. We're going to do all hand painted art. We're going to make the experience we want. And you're either going to love it or not. And that's not on us. We're going to make the best thing we want to make and we can make. Whether or not you like that, or that's how you would do it, or you think Arthurian Legends should be twice as big or twice as small, or we should put uniques in a elite slot or not, or whatever it is, right? Or the curio, you go down the list. So it kind of goes back to the what was the podcast, the success podcast that we did?
Success isn't enough,
where it's like,
if your booster boxes sold out, you should have printed more.
Maybe.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
if your event sells out, you should have had more seats. What an idiot. Now, there's a line, right? If there's 32 people at this event, like if there was 32 slots available, that's probably too small. I think 256, the difference between do we want to go from 256 to 500 something is massive. And there's a reason that we didn't really prefer the Sorcery Con thing last year, because it was a massive space.
Yeah.
And you just kind of did your thing with your group kind of by yourself, because people weren't kind of forced to be together because it was so massive. And I think they probably were thinking like, well, maybe they didn't like that either.
Well, and there's so many layers to that.
And you got to go like a casino to get that, which I think SorCon 2 is doing, or 3.
At a casino, really? The one coming up in February?
I think so. Yeah. I think I saw Mike talking about that.
I said this last time about the Vegas SorceryCon went too. I don't have a problem with those events.
Yeah.
If I were choosing though, this coming weekend, do I want to go to a 50-person sorcery event?
Go up to Pete's Barbecue in Missouri.
At Pete's camp, or at a really nice hotel somewhere that's like not in not in Vegas as an example. I like my Vegas trips too. Like I'm as a good example of this, next month I'm going to Des Moines for the Alpha Clash Progenitors Gambit National Championship. 6-hour drive, Des Moines. It's probably going to be 100 people or less in a pretty nice hotel, or it's not even a hotel venue. They booked a non-hotel venue for the first time. Cool looking venue. We went to Des Moines a year or two ago, or I did. Love the area. A lot of cool places to eat, hang out. It's not overly traffic, not very touristy, etc. I would choose that over a 2,000 person pro tour, personally. But also, sometimes a 2,000 person pro tour is pretty cool.
Sometimes it's fun.
But yeah, it's a very different thing to try to offer. And the funny thing is, Eric's Curiosa story, right? Started out and it was, we're not doing organized play. You guys can figure that out. And people are like, you have to do organized play.
And then David figured it out.
But then they're like, you've got to do organized play. So then, okay, organized play program comes around. And it's like, well, we didn't want to host events. Like, that's not why we got in this business, is to be an event host. But you know what? Actually, there's been enough success, been enough support. You guys want this. We have an idea for how we want to host this Avatar of the Realm thing. We'll launch this event. Launch the event, sells out instantaneously. Obviously, a lot of people want it. And then now the complaint is like, well, you're not prepared to host a several thousand person event.
It's the same as overprinting or underprinting.
And it's like, there's no right answer here.
There's no right answer.
Actually. But I will say, in light of all that, I don't think it's kind of like the FOMO marketing thing from Allerdale. I'm not surprised that it sold out. I wouldn't have been surprised if it sold out if they had 2,000 seats.
I was surprised that it sold out that quickly.
Maybe I'm just like, I just got burnt by, that's the whole thing. I'm not surprised that it sold out. I also think it's a bummer. Like, if you're a massive sorcery player and that's like your life, that's the game you're playing right now, and the big event of the year goes on sale and you're there at the start and you can't even get a ticket, that is a bummer. Like, period.
That's right.
But also, just like printing physical goods with a bunch of faulty signals from traditional distribution and almost no information, and then either way over or under printing a set, like, sometimes there's actually just not a great answer. Because it may be that if it needs to be a 2,000 person event, they actually just can't feasibly host this event.
Right.
And so to have enough to not create that feeling, it doesn't make it less of a bummer. But I think a certain amount of just the way that feels is not a feeling that is desired by anybody in this, including Eric's Curiosa, I would assume.
Well, here's the thing, though. But there's two. I think the downside of having 1,000 person capacity and only selling it to 300 is way riskier and worse than airing conservative at 256 or 200 and selling out quickly, right? This is marketing 101.
Yeah.
So there is a risk reward on both approaches.
And I do think, kind of going back to Dragonlord with the sorcery, there's like we launched our Dragonlord pre-orders and we sold out of our supply.
Probably really similar to this event where they were probably thinking, yeah, in a couple of weeks it'll probably sell out, right?
Yeah.
Dragonlord was the same way. I was like, people, and then it suddenly was like, oh, we didn't know it was this.
Here we are.
Oops.
From a marketing perspective, if you had to choose either be conservative and sell out, or be aggressive, be able to serve everyone that might possibly want to come, but a half empty room that you double overpaid for.
Room, yes.
One of those is a lot more recoverable than the other one.
That's right.
And I will say that the conservative route is the one that's recoverable, and it when success is enough thing where it's like, would you rather, let's say, talk about print run for a card game, print an amount and definitely sell out, or print an amount and have half of it left over and deep discounted online prices for all the products, et cetera, et cetera.
Seems much worse. Yeah.
And on the other hand, we've experienced this, like with Star Wars Destiny first set, it sold out so quickly that there was a long period of time where a bunch of people who wanted to get in couldn't.
Yeah.
And it is
and
actually,
they never did.
And they never did. And it's a huge net negative for you. So like there's pros and cons both directions.
Yeah. But it comes back to me to this, and this is the last thing I think we probably need to get out of here. What time is it? It's 2 on the dot. So it's kind of this Tragedy of the Commons thing. Very easy read if anyone wants to read that. But if you have 500 people who want the 128 person event, what do you do? I think that is what is at the heart of a lot of these conversations. Is how do I equitably, how do I as fairly as possible get the 128 people who have earned their spot to be in that 128, because we can't take everybody, and we have space limitations, and in physical events you actually do deal with that. And so you can announce the time earlier and all these kinds of things, but then you're basically saying anybody who can be available during this time and is fast with a computer is the mechanism that we're using, assuming the sellout happens, right?
Yeah.
And so then you have big acts like Taylor, Swizzle, who has a whole convoluted, if you like my Instagram and if you're my fan and if you demonstrate it in these ways, you have the first shot at tickets. But most things are not big enough to invest in anything like that for it to make any amount of sense. So Sorcery could say, we're going to build a big queue system, and then everybody in the queue, we're going to sort by the most amount of dust in their lifetime, and then the top dust winners are going to get the slots. And then it's like, so wait, the people who bought all of the booster boxes get to go and I don't?
Now, technically, you can also earn dust from events.
Yes, technically.
But then you get into, okay, that's the incentive, so people start manipulating that.
Right.
Where it's like, well, I'm going to give Steven all my dust codes so that he can definitely get a ticket. And I'm going to play in events.
Right.
And people start, you make it too good. It's like too.
Meantime, guy over here has bought 16 cases of beta and none of that matters.
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, the thing I want to mention here before we get out of here on this exact note is the thing I almost brought it up earlier, but I got burnt recently because Star Wars Celebration tickets went on sale. And they actually do have the big fancy queue.
You're still a Star Wars guy.
So the only reason
after all this, man,
no.
Wow,
it's
really impressive.
Here's the context. The context is it's Star Wars Celebration next year, and it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And I know it's going to be a banger of nostalgia. Nothing about the new stuff that matters. It's just literally 50th. It's going to be crazy.
Right. X-Wings and TIE Fighters.
And so I was like, I'm going to get in the queue. And if you get lucky, you get in the queue and you roll a 20 and the VIP tickets are still there. And I was like, if I can organically get a VIP ticket, which is worth every penny, I will buy the VIP ticket and I will go. And if I can't, I will just not go. So tickets go on sale at noon. Yeah, I'm there, refreshing, hit the button, get in the queue. It's like, all right, you're in the queue. 4 hours later, queue finally does a thing. And it's like, all right, here's your ticket options. VIP sold out, so I'm not going. But you look at the list, and they basically have 4-day badges, and they have that's a 4-day all in, and they have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday badges. And they have that for adults and for kids. The only badges that are left when I get in are Thursday and Sunday, which are the worst 2 days for kids.
So how did they orient the queue? Do you know who or why?
It's just random.
Randomness.
But crazy thing is,
sometimes the most fair of all.
For the past decade, I have gone to all of the celebrations.
So you feel owed.
Except for I didn't
fan.
go to the one in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But I have waited in the queue. I have got my normal ticket. I have done the whole thing. And it was just totally thing. But the reason I point this out is not because I didn't get a ticket. It's because Star Wars, that knows they're going to have 100,000 person sellout event, doesn't have a queue system good enough to give everyone who wants a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a venue in the world big enough for them to host this big enough and to know how big enough even is.
Yeah. And
I've seen it since I went to the first one I went to was 2015, and it was 10% as big as it is now. It's crazy, actually. Mm-hmm. And so you just kind of see this pattern over and over again. Yeah, there's a bunch of people bummed out that didn't get tickets. Tons of people are like, 3 hours later, I got in the queue and there's no tickets left. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe I can't. It's day one. There's we're over a year out from this event happening, and people can't. It's the same with Taylor Swift concert tickets.
Yeah.
And so like it's tales all this time, right? Too many tickets, problem. Too few tickets, problem. Mm-hmm. And there's one of those problems that's a lot more reasonable to sustain as a business and as a market enterprise than the other. So yeah. Anyways, all that to say, is FOMO necessary?
I think I'm pretty convinced that yes. I think so.
I think my current stance would be FOMO is not the only tool. I think it is a tool. Mm-hmm. I think FOMO can be used in a way that is more egregious or less egregious.
Definitely.
And I think the way you frame it and your intentionality and what you're trying to do is really important for how that tool gets used or not. And I think there are some pretty gross usages of it.
It really, it hinges on how big the F is in FOMO. How much you're really like playing on the fear. And again, it just bothers me a lot. It bothers me a lot, that kind of Matthew Perry example, that like I might say something to you and you're like, oh, he's trying to make me feel fear to get me to buy this thing. Like, okay, I see right through this guy. Mm-hmm. And I say it to the next person. They're like, hey, I'll pay $1,000.
Yeah, but there's like, I know that you're doing this to get me to buy more, but I also agree with you. Mm-hmm. Like Sorcery is a good example where it's like, it's very smart. If I want alpha, I buy it now. And I have gone through it where it's like, well, should have subscribed to more FAB boxes because that Scar for a Scar promo from the first is crazy. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was going to be crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, what was I even thinking? Mm-hmm. But like, actually also, I'm squaring up with the fact that in the end, I'm probably going to buy at least this many boxes. So I may as well go ahead and buy them in the campaign. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got the FOMO thing with promo cards.
Yeah.
That is the exact same thing.
Well, and is it FOMO? Actually, or is it?
Are you buying because you're worried that you're going to miss the promo?
Well, is that why you're buying? Because you're worried you're going to miss it, or
some people for sure.
Are you buying it because that is a bonus or an incentive or an add-on that you find value in?
I wonder what the difference is. If you find value in it, you're scared of it not having it.
I feel like FOMO would be, if you don't subscribe to get these boxes, you may never be able to get these boxes.
But that's just replace boxes with promos.
Well, it's not. It's if you don't pre-order, you will not get this promo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is different. Is it FOMO?
Yes, it is. I think actually most everything, like, it's hard. Most everything is, because if I'm saying this thing is valuable to you and you agree, then you should fear not having it. Because why would you not want value?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting because to me, I see it as like, this is, in one way, this is a thank you for believing in this enough to buy it in advance before because you could wait till a set comes out, draft it once, and decide whether or not this is something you want, or these cards are something that you want. Mm-hmm. But you're kind of same with the Kickstarter. Like, you're putting your money on the line before it's a tangible thing, and you're waiting. And so it's like, hey, thank you for giving me your money for a year and a half so that I can make this game. Mm-hmm. Similar with a promo, where it's like, you could use it in a FOMO style. I think you could do a lot of things in a FOMO style if you want, but it's like the way you're utilizing it matters to a degree. Like, we're not running ads right now that say, if you don't subscribe right now, you're never going to get this
or like
thing.
Last chance, such and such, sale, ends tonight. That kind of stuff does suck. I don't think there's any that's really the problem, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just, I guess the question is, can you desire something without having some amount of fear that you're missing out by not having it?
Yeah, I'm not, as a person, prone to fear or regret. Like I don't experience those emotions, I guess, very often, if ever. And so for one reason or another, it would be more desire to me than anything, which is like, I know, like when we did the skeleton token for the last sorcery set, we had that promo card. Thank you, Art.
It's beautiful.
It's like, I know I want as many of these as I can possibly get. I'm not afraid of I don't feel the fear of it. But I just desire this thing.
But if you said that, right? I want as many of these as I can get. And then something happened and you're like, "Oh my god, I can only get one booster box." Would there not be kind of a negative, like, I really want those skeleton tokens and now I can't have them?
Well,
and that's a problem.
It's funny, we're still unpacking this. I think even just the definition of this, I think
trying to get the conclusion out and it drives it back into the freaking cliff.
Well, I think it comes into motivation to purchase. So like, I wasn't purchasing boxes because I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough skeletons, or that I was going to regret not having the skeletons.
Really? You don't think so?
No,
but you told me explicitly you were worried you weren't going to have enough skeletons. And you're like, I better bump my boxes up because I think the Necromancer is going to need more than 6.
And I want to have 6. But I'm not afraid of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, fear is a strong word in the FOMO reality.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I had no fear. Like, the reason I upped my boxes was not fear; it was desire. It was like, I want enough of these to make sure that when I'm playing Necromancer, I have all of this because I think this is stunning. And so, I do think that is maybe going back to the Buddhist thing, the simplest framing of this, which is like, I actually have a lot less problem with desire-based marketing than fear-based marketing. Now, I think desire can go too far, just like anything, where like you could make stuff look so appealing or so desirable to get people to make bad choices.
Isn't that funny? Is that true? You know,
I think
it takes us back. It's like, so if you take the best video of the cinnamon roll, is it exploitative that now I want to buy it and eat it, even if it's a mid cinnamon roll? What else is marketing there for? Make the slow pan happen, tilt the camera, pour the frosting on that bad boy, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Is that exploitation, really?
Well, I don't know that's exploitation. I just think that, like I could make someone desire to go to the casino and spend all their money and lose their house. And I don't feel like that's good in the moral sense. And I can make it look good to go to the casino and have fun and be in the suit and roll the craps table.
Which they do.
It
right?
does
Why
look
wouldn't
cool.
you do that, right?
Isn't
that the whole point?
One of my nieces, one of the sweetest people on earth.
Tremendous blackjack problem.
That'd be so funny. Gambler. No, when she was a kid, this is my conclusion. When she was a kid, we were on a road trip. We went to Chicago, and I was with them. So her mom and dad in the front seat. She's here to the right of me. I'm sitting on the left. I'm looking out the window, and out of from over here, she's in her little car seat. She's like 3 or 4, little. She's like, "Ew, that woman is cigaretting." I look over and there's a lady sitting in her van smoking. And then just very innocently, she goes, "Why would anyone ever do that?" Pause.
Let me tell you, kid.
The car is just silent. And then 4-year-old, ready, says, "But it does look fun." I was dying. Just
the parents pull this car.
Dying. It's so. Anyways. Point is, even marketing and you can't smoke, or you can't buy cigarettes if you're in America, if you're younger than 18, because it does look cool, and you can market it, and they did market
cancer stuff on them, and yet still
people find a way. But I think that's where it's like, that there is a way to make people desire something that is actually not good, and but I'm not going to stop anyone from smoking, That's not what's my role in that as an individual, right? Or even as a society.
But that's a great question, because if you're not going to stop him,
I do think 12-year-olds is a problem.
Should not be smoking
cognitive
cigarettes.
development, but also addiction. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, because we're saying biologically they're not capable of resisting this amount of advertising.
Yeah.
Somehow we're not saying that about social media because we are insane. And
Well, that's because the
bought
parents
by-
are addicted too.
and we're bought by corporate interests in our political system, which has an impact, of course. But
I'm a strong, independent young man.
So then we're
Don't
saying,
put that on me.
We're actively saying, like, okay, at this arbitrary number of moons that have passed by the Earth, this person is now capable of resisting on their own and can make consentful decisions.
That's not the. It's not just arbitrary number of moon cycles. There's brain development.
There's a little brain
patterns,
development
et cetera.
stuff, but I know not all 18-year-olds can resist the slot machine the same.
At this point in my life, I don't think 18 is old enough.
Yeah, 40 may not be old enough for real decision making, and by the time you're old enough to make a good decision, you start forgetting everything. So like, good luck with that.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Anyways, all I have to say,
I want everybody to think about this.
Ongoing conversation. If you have thoughts, please leave them on the YouTube video or head to the industry discussion channel or Discord. And I think this is going to be one we're going to have to keep unpacking.
What a while. That's a good conversation. Well, the problem is it's a conversation that is historical in its nature, I would imagine. Like, this is the root of so much of the human experience. And what is ethics at all? And does the individual have free will in all things? Can they be manipulated? Is that on them or on you? Who's responsible for the consequences of that? Do we have any shared value systems that would prevent us from doing that at a large scale? That's everything, man.
I mean, there's a lot there, but
That's everything.
I do think it is a
The Tao of
conversation
marketing, baby.
worth continuing to have,
Yeah.
and to unpack and to work through. And I think that's a big part of any of this. Like, I'm not even expecting to reach a conclusion as much as I think it's healthy to keep wrestling with it.
Mm-hmm. And I do still feel like some things are really gross that happen out there in the world of marketing.
Know it when you see it.
I need to figure out why. Thanks so much for being here, everybody.
See you next time.
We appreciate you.